Hi, Ryan, Hiring Guru here with today's hiring tip. Today we're going to talk about what would you do if you stopped getting free applicants. Make sure you stick around to the end. I'll tell you about 2 downloads that you can get, a free attraction funnel download and a free source power report. Both of these 2 tools are extremely important in better understanding how your applicant flow, where it's coming from, and how to take control over sourcing applicants for your jobs. All right, well, we live in unique times. This last year, I would say, when it comes to hiring, has been about the most unique 12 months that we've ever seen. We started out the year with huge talent shortages in pretty much every single industry you were in. If it's skilled talent, there was a shortage for it. Then COVID comes along, and we have layoffs and shutdowns and masks and all kinds of crazy stuff and massive numbers of unemployed people. And then we open back up. And now we've had an election and it goes up and down, and who knows what's coming next. Most likely more shutdowns and potentially more layoffs, but maybe just maybe a vaccine and the reopening of the economy. It has been complete and utter chaos is probably the best way to put it. 2 things, chaos and uncertainty. Now, you probably don't love that. In fact, most people don't. But chaos and uncertainty is a period of time that happens over and over again. Almost every 5 to 10 years, we tend to have this kind of roller coaster of an economic meltdown, a housing crisis, the internet bubble, whatever the case may be. We tend to enter periods of chaos and uncertainty. And all of this is impacting employers. What we're hearing is that applicant flow is down, measured in number of applicants per job. But even worse, quality of applicants is down, meaning even if they get applicants, they're not very qualified, or they're not really that interested in actually getting a job. And then the last part, ghosting is up even worse than it was before, which is super interesting. But even later in the process, even getting ghosted at the point of offering a job or not hearing back from somebody that committed to work for you, who just doesn't show up at all on the first day of work. Again, most likely, it's just crazy, chaotic, and uncertain. And my guess is, like most organizations, you might be just trying to tread water. Just, hang on tight and wait until all of this is over with. But here's the deal, is that chaos brings about change. In fact, it speeds up the evolution of marketplaces. Just think about that for a minute. Chaos speeds up the evolution of marketplaces. And the job market, the transfer between job seekers, or the meetup between job seekers and employers and job boards and all this stuff, it is an ecosystem, and chaos brings about faster, more rapid evolution of that ecosystem. We saw this same thing. The reason why back in 2008, the reason why chaos brings about faster change is that tech companies jockey for position. They never just sit back. Any tech company right now is aggressively figuring out how to not just navigate COVID, but come out on the other side of head. Billions of dollars of venture capital are being poured into the ecosystem that is hiring and again, the labor exchange between employees and employers. Business models are being evolved and tweaked and adjusted. And the question is, if you're just the average employer, are you ready for any of this? Or do you even know that that's what's going on? There's a good chance that you just think everybody is just holding their breath and waiting. But the fact of the matter is that's not true. Now, we started in the hiring world back in 2005. And about 3 years in, the 2008 housing market crash, recession, whatever you want to call it, happened. And you might not realize this, but a huge amount of shifting happened in the job board ecosystem during that recession. When we went into the recession, everybody on earth paid for all of their job ads. If you ran an ad on CareerBuilder or Monster or anywhere like that, the newspaper and the online classified ads of your paper, everything was paid for. There was no such thing as really a free job board, except for maybe Craigslist, as that recession started. Indeed and Glassdoor and all of those guys were just coming to be right at the beginning of that recession. On the other side of the recession, as we came out of it, all of a sudden the entire world had kind of shifted. All of a sudden we had Indeed and Glassdoor and Simply Hired and these free job boards that were dominating the applicant flow market. They had suddenly just displaced these old your old big name job boards like CareerBuilder and Monster when it came to applicant traffic. We started out the recession like this. And all of a sudden it completely reversed. And it was almost like nobody saw it coming. But the fact of the matter is, what had happened was that Indeed and Glassdoor and Simply Hired had simply followed the playbook that Google used against Yahoo. It maximized the number of jobs they had, which created a better job seeker experience. And so they used Google and search engines to drive tons of traffic instead of Super Bowl ads and TV ads and those types of things. And all of a sudden, the majority of job seekers found that the quality of jobs and quantity available were better on Indeed. And lo and behold, it completely upended the entire ecosystem. Over the last, say, 10 years, 12 years since that, we've had all kinds of different things going on. LinkedIn and Facebook creating job boards, and CareerBuilder and Monster allowing free feeds in there, and ZipRecruiter comes along, and all of these different changes. It might seem like there's just new players being added to the field, but in actuality, they run different business models, and it starts to evolve what's going on. So the question is, what's going to happen as we come out of whatever you want to call this period of chaos that comes from COVID, right? I believe going into it, we have most employers kind of addicted to free traffic, free applicant flow. It's just the staple for the majority of the applicants they're generating for their jobs are coming in for free from job boards like Indeed or ZipRecruiter or Simply Hired, which is gone now, but part of Indeed and Glassdoor, right? There's all these kind of free applicants coming in. And if that is your addiction, by addiction, I mean, you might not have a budget for paid ads like you had back in 2007, right? Worse is you might not actually know how this whole ecosystem works. You might actually just believe that if you just keep doing what you're doing, everything will remain the same on the other side of this recession. I can tell you the one thing I know for sure is that on the other side of COVID, it will not be exactly the same as it was pre-COVID. All of those tech companies and job boards and people in the ecosystem are massively and aggressively evolving and shifting and changing, even though the employers might be kind of hands off writing it out. So here's what I see coming. What I see coming based on my 7,000 clients is fewer applicants for job coming from the free boards. That's a problem. Now, that could be because of a talent shortage, but I actually believe it's because the business models and the algorithms are shifting a little bit. They're giving a little bit more relevance or rankings to paid ads versus free ads. And as that happens, when you shift from, say, 10 out of 15 ads on the homepage or in a search results being free to maybe only 5 free ones and 10 paid ones, it means that most likely if you are relying only on free traffic, that you're going to get fewer and fewer applicants for your jobs. And so you're going to have to adjust. Employers will have new options, but I don't know that all those options will be just free like Indeed and Glassdoor were for all this time. So here's what you need to do to prepare for this. Number one is you probably need to increase your paid budgets. It's the end of the year right now. It's a great time to make sure that you've added paid sponsorship or paid job ads into your budget line items so that as you come out of this next year, you're not surprised and left without any money to spend. Number two, you need to make sure you're maximizing the number of applicants you get per dollar spent. And the way you do that is really simple. You write better ads and you reduce the friction of people applying. That's whether you're using Indeed sponsorship or ZipRecruiter or you're buying ads on CareerBuilder or Monster, it's all the same. If you write a better ad with better keywords that's more engaging, and if you decrease the friction and how hard it is to apply, you will maximize the number of applicants you get for each dollar spent. Number three, you're going to have to start looking for other sources. If you get 70+% of your applicants from a single source, it most likely is time not to get rid of that source, but to bring other sources in to balance that out, to give you other options and other applicant flow from other places out there. Right? Something like job boards on Facebook and LinkedIn are starting to gain steam, generating applicants from Facebook groups, using Craigslist. Employee referrals is a huge one, right? There are tons of ways to generate not just applicants, but hires, right? High quality applicants from other sources besides just the ones you're using today. And then finally, number four, and the one almost nobody wants to talk about, is you might have to make your job more competitive. That means not just increasing pay, but changing PTO, benefits, working from home, perks, all those kinds of things, growth potential, part-time versus full-time. You might have to take a look at your jobs compared to everybody else out in the marketplace and figure out what would make a job seeker want to work for you versus their other options. That's the fourth and last one, because I know it takes a lot more effort, a lot more work, and you're going to have to get buy-in from your entire management team to make that happen. But so those are the 4 things you can do, and you can do them right now. Make sure you have paid money in the budget. Adjust your friction and your job ads to maximize the number of applicants you get per dollar spent. Find other sources, specifically the most powerful sources that get you the most hires per applicant, which would be employee referrals and your fans and your customers, those type of things. And then finally, number 4, you need to figure out where you stand compared to all the competitors when it comes to the power or the value you provide to your employees compared to their other options. Now, the sky isn't falling, and that's not my goal. I don't want to freak anybody out and say, oh no, you're going to get 0 applicants from the job boards for free. But it is time for HR and employers to take an active role in applicant flow, to actually get out there and understand how it works, how they drive it, what levers they can pull to make it work, and to actively understand that this is a competition for talent, not just post and pray, not just you get what you get. The fact of the matter is, for every 1 applicant you're seeing right now, there are 99 interested people in your job and your location that never make it into your inbox. You're seeing 1 out of 100. There are plenty of applicants out there. If you actively adjust, evolve, and change the way you source, the way your job ads are written, how the friction is when people apply, and which sources you focus your time and attention on. So that's the takeaway for today. Now, I've got 2 really cool tools that will help you with it. The first one is the attraction funnel. It helps you understand the metrics behind your applicant flow from the time of posting a job to the time of an applicant showing up in your inbox. It gives you the metrics to track and shows you where you have the most potential to do something about it, to make a measured impact for just time usually and attention, not money. The second one is what I call the source power report. This gives you the ability to look at where, not just where your applicants are coming from, but where your hires are coming from, to figure out which sources have the most power. Power means hires per applicant or applicants per hire. It means how many people do you actually have to generate before you hire somebody. Give you an idea, a normal free job board is usually something like 50 to 1. It takes 50 applicants to hire 1 person, and something like employee referrals is usually something like 5 to 1. You only need 5 applicants to make a hire with employee referrals. So while putting attention on some of those other more powerful sources might not give you the quantity of applicant flow that you're used to, it will give you the quality of applicant flow, specifically people you actually hire. This is what you're going to need to do as you start taking more control over your hiring process. So until next time, good luck hiring.